Really bad accents.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, so let's get down to remains of the Budong Day.
What it's called? That's not what it's called, is it?
It's Home on the Remains.
Home on the Remains. That's it. Is that a play on words? It's like a home on the range. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yes.
Okay.
Whereas I'm doing Remains of the Day.
Okay. Cool. I understand what's going on now.
Hi, friends.
Hello, puppets.
Howdy, y'all.
Welcome to Muppet Sex and Trauma. I'm Sara Ezzat. I make the Costume Codex videos on YouTube.
I'm Jack Kramme, editor / right-hand man for Passion of the Nerd and editor for Chipperish Media.
And I'm Josh Gosdin, and I've been around Southern accents all my life, so I'm looking forward to talking about this episode.
Was that a Southern accent?
Mm-mm. Not a real one.
I'm like, what accent with the hell accent was he trying to do?
Oh, man.
Alien? I think it was, yeah.
I have some thoughts, but we'll get into it.
Same, yes.
Summary time. Okay.
Yes.
Home on the Remains was written by Henry Worksman Jr., who's executive story editor for season 2 of Farscape, and this is the first of his 3 writing credits all this season. And it's directed by our old friend Rowan Woods. The crew are out of food and things are getting desperate. Particularly for Zon, whose plant ancestry is making itself known. Without food, she is weakened and producing spores that are hazardous to the crew. But don't worry, Chiana knows a guy. Okay, not so much a guy as an axe. Well, when she says axe...
How much did you steal?
Still, what choice do they have? And so here they are, at a mining camp, on the carcass of a giant space creature, ready to do whatever it takes to get food from the guy Chiana frelled over. But when they find him, he's dying, attacked by bees and stung by a lethal pus, because this mining camp has never heard of health and safety regulations. There is nothing Chiana can do but put him out of his misery. Luckily, he has a brother, Basog, who now runs the camp. Unluckily, he's kind of salty that Chiana passed him over for his brother, but he understands hunger, or at least power games, and so he will feed the crew, but not her.
You used up my charity.
But there is someone at the camp who remembers her fondly. Altana, who is happy to give Chiana a feed and a good catch-up. Altana is on the verge of hitting big, it seems. She's found a rich vein of the crystals that they mine here, but sadly Basog has closed the mine because of this creature who attacked his brother. I wonder if Chiana or her friends could help out with that. Back on Moya, Zon is deteriorating. Aeryn is trying to help, but to no avail. Crichton brings some of Basog's charity food, but it isn't enough. She's too far gone and needs meat to survive. But Basog is the only one with access to meat, and he will only trade it for crystals from the mine. The mine he has closed on account of creature. There is one other thing that might make him give up some meat.
I give you meat, you're mine. Till I'm done with you.
And so, Chiana, Dargo, and Basog now launch into a classic opera plot. Chiana is the courtesan who will sell herself to the Basog to survive. But what's this? A young idealist who can offer the courtesan nothing but love and those sexy tentacles. Meanwhile, John is doing some light Captain Kirking, checking out the tunnels and investigating the creature, which appears to respond to the sound of a whistle. I wonder who's holding that whistle. Aeryn and Pilot are still trying to help Zon, and it is getting worse. Her spores are so intense that it's harming Moya, and the only solution is to seal her and Aeryn in a transport pod and vent the ship to space. But now Zon is missing. Aeryn desperately searches the ship, but to no avail, and eventually she just has to seal command and hope for the best as they vent the ship. Luckily, Zon happens to be in command with her, or maybe it's unluckily, as Zon has lost all control now and attacks her. Good thing Aeryn has her peacekeeper training, and knocks her out. The waltz of Chi Bog Dargo is in full swing. Who loves who? Who will take the first step? Or will she choose safety over love? And while they're waltzing, John is dancing his own two-step with the creature. Naturally, it's controlled by Basog. Of course, who saw that coming? And finally, he kills it with a very handy spiky door. Elsewhere, Chiana's waltz is reaching its crescendo. But this isn't an opera. And so our ingenue is not going to lie there and die of consumption. She kills her evil baron, spraying him with the lethal pus, and leaving him to be consumed. And so to the denouement, where everyone is chowing down on Crichton's creature barbecue, and having kissed, we are left to wonder where the dance of Chiago will lead next. Okay, so yeah, where shall we start? Initial thoughts?
I didn't really care for this one. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. I wouldn't say that it's forgettable because it's certainly not forgettable. Like the stuff with Zahn is very like you can't forget that. But I was just like, whatever, and let's watch the next one. Yeah, no, that's sort of how I felt. But there's still some good stuff in here, though.
He is similar. I was mostly whelmed throughout the episode. Neither overwhelmed nor underwhelmed. It was just whelmed. I simply was. And you know, the bits on the planet, I think, were my least favorite part of the episode. The drama up on Moya was my most favorite part. And like crazy serial killer eyes, Zahn.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
Yeah,
I loved that, and like the cotton spores floating around. That was also just a really good effect as well.
This is one of the ones where I think I find the sort of week to week plot kind of half baked. But I enjoy the emotional drama with the soap opera bits. But the emphasis on the opera this time because
it was a little love triangle-y there towards the end.
Yeah,
not really.
Yeah, except it's not. It's that unequal triangle where it's like the two people love. She has her only interest in Basag is survival.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also felt like with that stuff, I felt like Chiana was being treated like an object a little bit. I mean,
100%.
Yeah, she still sort of had her own agency, but at the same time, Dargo was trying to tell her what to do, and Basag was a little bit too. And yeah, it felt very much like the challenge was whether or not she could be bartered with and used as a sex slave for however long, half an hour or whatever it is. And that just felt weird to me, very weird and off.
Well, there was an interesting progression, and I appreciate the writers as Chiana is pointing a gun at the camera. She says, "I've evolved as an individual." The writers are making sure that we're paying attention, literally holding the audience at gunpoint. But that her character evolution in the short, or I guess so far the short arc that she's gone through was difficult to track and hold on to because it was so buried beneath Dargo trying to be all, you know, chivalrous and
Dargo.
yeah. And Basag just being a slimy greaseball.
Yeah.
So it was all right.
Yeah, and like she does get her own at the end, which was great. I love that.
Yeah. That was God, that dissolving hand effect. Holy shit.
Gross, like amazingly gross. I loved it. Yeah, amazingly gross. Yeah. I feel like that scene did sort of save it a little bit. Even though it's still a very odd thing. But again, we're talking about a 20-year-old TV show, so I don't know.
See, I will get more into it, but I appreciate that this sort of she does actually have agency.
Absolutely.
You know, she's doing survival sex work. Like that's what she's been, and it's clear that's what she's been doing. There's sort of a desperate edge of survival thing, and she is, to the best of her ability, taking ownership in that. And we can see that the men are, you know, that Dargo's trying to, you know, struggling to accept that because she is being treated as an object, but she was
like making a choice, kind of.
Yeah, she's in a position where she is objectifying herself and her body for her own survival, that she needs to do that. She is like, she's taking as much agency as she can in that situation.
Yep.
And I appreciate that. And I appreciate that. Like, there's enough subtlety in the performance that we can see both where he's coming from and where she's coming from.
Yeah, she does not want to do it. She does not want to be the concubine of Basag. No.
Yeah. Would you guys say that she doesn't have a good choice, but she has a choice?
You could say that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We expected you to say that, and you got in there pretty early.
I'm so sorry. It just came. I wasn't planning that. It just came to me as you were speaking, Sarah. Yeah, she absolutely. It wasn't a good choice, but she still was going to make that choice if she had to.
That's the thing. So and that's the arc that I was referring to for Chiana, and I love survival sex work. I love that term, that phrase, Sarah. Like, she, because of the life that she has led so far, and because of the experiences that she has had so far, she is still trapped in that paradigm within herself. She jumps immediately to, well, Basag, isn't there any other way that I can pay you off? Like, she's the one who makes that proposed suggestion. Yeah, sure, Basag is leering at her and looking her up and down the whole time, but she's the one who brings it up, because for her, it is a survival mechanism that she still busts out at a moment's notice, because it's what she's used to. She's not used to there being other choices. She's not used to there being other options, other ways of doing things.
Yeah, and I think it's important that she's doing it not only for herself. And by the way, survival sex work is not a term, like, that is what it's called when people do this kind of thing. Hi friends, editing Sara here. So I don't think I gave a great definition in the recording, so I'm going to read now from the Wikipedia definition of survival sex. Survival sex is a form of prostitution engaged in by a person because of their extreme need. It describes the practice of people who are homeless or otherwise disadvantaged in society, trading sex for food, a place to sleep, or other basic needs, or for drugs. The term is used by sex trade workers, poverty researchers, and aid workers. And just a heads up that in this discussion we slip a bit too much into gendered language. So just to be clear, this is a thing that can be done by a person of any gender, and also those most at risk are queer people, trans people, people of color, etc. People who are most likely to find themselves in extreme need because they have the fewest options in society. So that should make things clearer. This is something women have done since the dawn of time, and not only women, also, rent boys, or has entered into these kinds of agreements, whether temporary or whether as a courtesan, like, to survive. To in situations where there is no other option, like we the song "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend." That is actually about essentially survival sex work, even when because we were talking about the Moulin Rouge thing, because when women could not have bank accounts and when women were not deemed people, they didn't have, you couldn't save. And the only thing that was yours was jewelry.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So you would, in your youth, when you were beautiful and could attract gifts from men, you did. And you hoarded that shit. This isn't my best friend because it's pretty. This will pay my fucking rent.
Okay.
When no one is going to give me a home, when this guy isn't going to put me up in a place anymore,
Wow.
That's what that song is about.
Yeah, I never considered that song from that perspective, but it makes a ton of sense.
And that's what I joke about in the summary about the opera courtesans. That's what they're doing. Almost all of them. Like Mimi is going to is leaving her, beloved guy who lights her candle because the other guy can get her medicine so she doesn't die of consumption, and she dies of consumption anyway. Santine is trying to keep the theater, the Moulin Rouge afloat so everybody doesn't starve. So like this is sort of like one of the oldest female stories there is. And I think we could have gotten it a whole lot better if it had been written by a woman.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
That is we need some kind of like a bell system, because that keeps coming up in this show for the three of us is if only there was a woman in the writer's room.
Yes. If only there was X in the writer's room. In this case, women.
Yeah.
I think it's also significant. I just have this thought now, and I think it's also significant that Chiana actually goes down to the Budong intending to use her sexuality to get what they need if she has to, because she like dresses up and we get the music and everybody comments on it. So yeah, I think she was very much intending to do that if she had to. So I think that's very significant, I think.
Yeah, she has grasped that the situation is desperate. The rest of them, other than Zahn, are still trying to cope with that. Like, if we are down to frying the Dentix, this is desperate. I know what to do in a desperate situation.
And Dargo's over there being like, you don't have to put on that dress tonight. Yeah. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Chiana!
And that's the thing. He knows desperation too.
Sure.
Yeah. But this isn't a situation where he can sell his sword.
Right.
Yeah.
I still don't know how I feel about Dargo and Chiana. I just don't. It feels like oil and water to me for some reason. It feels
it is oil and water.
And opposites attract. I know that, but I don't know. It's just something about it feels weird, man. I don't know.
It's oil and vinegar, and they make a delicious salad dressing together.
Okay, fair. I like vinegar and salad. I don't know.
Is it dramatically interesting?
Yes, that's the thing. It is. Yes. I'm talking personality wise. It just I almost feel like Dargo being who he is. I feel like he would see her as like a child, or almost, because she's like bratty, and that's sort of how I would think that he would view her, and clearly he doesn't. Thank God.
Well, he did.
Well, he does, and he doesn't.
He started off with that perspective, and the more he's gotten to know her, the more he's realized that there's more to her.
Yeah. Maybe I'll warm up to it, but right now I'm just I love the scene at the end. Love it. It's great. But I
don't think any of us are imagining Chiana and Dargo behind a picket fence with grandchildren.
No. but that's sort of what I feel like the show wants me to think. Okay.
I mean, maybe, but I don't. This setup for a ship doesn't usually go there. But that's not the only kind of ship there is, because that can be kind of dull.
Yeah, the one thing I am happy about is finally, or maybe it would appear that the show is setting us up with a proper couple, and rather than this like teasing and let's bone and then never talk about it again. Josh, don't do that to me, man. Come on.
Jack, you've been hurt too many times.
Many times. And I don't know why I care, but I care so much.
You've got to know by now. You've got to know, Jack. It's going to be okay. No,
the long game.
Yeah. I loved that last scene as well. And that was when it clicked for me, the arc they put in place for Chiana, because they blocked that scene very similarly to when Chiana tried to thank Crichton. And I think it was on the same set even. when she went in and tried to thank Crichton and tried to kiss him, and he was like, cool, you be over there.
Yeah.
And this time it was somebody was offering for the first time, I think in the show, somebody was offering Chiana like genuine affection, genuine sexual affection that she didn't have to earn, beg, borrow, or steal,
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's when it was like, oh.
I also love her reaction when he walks out in the room. She's like, no.
That was hilarious.
That was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she enjoyed that. But yeah, I just feel like there is something like Chiana feels a little lost to me. She's mixed up. She's had a hard time, and something about that. I just feel like Dargo would want to be protective in like a paternal way rather than a romantic way. But I don't know. Who am I? They're consenting adults, so it's none of my goddamn business.
And sometimes things are complicated because I think he does have those feelings.
Yeah.
As
He's
well
very
as the
protective,
sexy feelings.
Mm.
That's what's making him so muddled and confused.
Yeah. And I mean, I can relate. Like I get it. So yeah.
Jack also has those feelings for Chiana.
Yes. and Matala. Oh, Matala.
Oh, Matala.
And I'm sure
you
it's
don't
going to
feel
happen a lot.
protective for Matala, do you?
No. I'm terrified of her in a really weird way. Terrified, but also like, I'm way too open. I'm so sorry.
You never close.
Please don't apologize.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, where were we?
Yeah, I think the waltz of Chiago. Yes.
Chiago. I love that ship name, by the way. That's great. Chiago. Love it.
You invented that last time we recorded.
Oh, did I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yes, Jack, you do love it.
I don't know why I don't remember that, but I don't. But cool, Chiago. Cool. I did it. Yay.
We had a whole conversation about whether it was
we're trying to figure it out.
Or or cheese.
Oh, I do remember that now. Yeah.
So because I just named it a waltz.
Chiago, love it.
That's
right, because it made me think of Iago. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So, shall we talk about Iago seems like a good segue to talking about Zahn.
Yeah.
Because character who doesn't know if she's a villain or a protagonist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, would one of you guys like to take the floor here?
First of all, I'm 12 years old, and I had a really hard time when she sat up and looked John dead in the eyes, and she goes, "John, I need meat."
I didn't go there.
And I just went,
I didn't, but I did now. You took me there, Josh. I went there with you. I thought she was gonna like bite his finger off or something.
She damn near was, and she was gonna eat Aeryn. Yeah. No, but like this was fantastic Zahn work. First of all, that got the makeup.
The buds coming out of her face. Yeah,
that was really so good.
Yeah,
and the way her eyes kept changing color.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was real subtle. Like because she started off with yellow eyes, it usually has blue eyes, and so I was like, wait a minute, does she always have yellow eyes? No.
Yeah.
Oh no! And then they went red, and I was like, oh no.
Also, I realized anytime she is wearing a hood, some shit is about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I saw her in the hood, I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, we were off to a bad start there.
Yeah.
And just the whole like Aeryn trying to take care of Zahn and trying to like keep her from eating her and all that kind of stuff. I liked the trapped in a box storyline that was happening on Moya. It was very, very affecting and very compelling, and I kind of wish it had been the A plot instead of the B plot. Because it was just so well done. And Virginia Hay, is always great whenever they give her things to do with Zahn.
Yeah,
and just yeah, I had a blast with the storyline up on Moya. I had a fun time with it.
I enjoyed parts of what they did. Yeah, Josh, I love the buds, and I love the pollen. I love the idea that she is a living plant. So they gave her this sickness that related to botany and plants and all of that stuff. I thought that was really, really, really cool. And there were times where she was genuinely terrifying and straight out of a horror movie. Like I love that. Like I was actually a little tense because I thought she was gonna like vamp out at any moment and start like gnawing someone. But I am getting a little frustrated by the fact that the show keeps showing us like glimpses of her darkness, but then it just abandons it. They keep hinting at this stuff that couldn't be really interesting, and that's one of the things that piqued my interest first in the show was this like darkness within her, and we get these little glimpses, and then it goes away. But what happens here seems completely different to what we saw earlier on in the series. I don't think it's related. I don't know, but
no, this was just pure survival instinct.
Yeah, like, and I'm getting a little frustrated by that. It's almost like they don't know what to do, or they try things and then decide against them. And yeah, I want to take a further peek under the hood there and see what's going on and actually explore it. To be fair, we're only this is what, season 2, episode 7. There's still plenty of time. Maybe I'm just being impatient, but yeah, that was my main complaint with the Zahn stuff today, even though I thoroughly enjoyed parts of it.
Yeah, I very much see it as a moment in a bottle, sort of related to the plant nature. Because we sort of have how different people respond to desperation. And I like, and Zahn has no control over has very little control over herself. I think she is exerting control when she doesn't eat her friends.
I was gonna say, she almost ate John.
yeah. But she doesn't have a lot of control. But she's not also totally like, well, animal would be our equivalent, but she doesn't totally.
It was animalistic. There was something about it, yeah.
Because the way that when she goes, as she calls it herself, savage, she attacks emotionally Aeryn by throwing out, because I love that in the Aeryn and Zahn pilot stuff, we get touches of the way they weren't.
Yeah.
Pilot is still not 100% because of the things that happened then, and what Zahn is throwing at Aeryn are all the stuff that came up then. You're peacekeeper. You're nothing but kill kind of stuff. It's all the things that Aeryn has been wrestling with. And then we have Aeryn, who I love in this episode. Things aren't going right, but she's trying to science the shit out of things.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I love watching that.
Yeah. And she was the hero. Finally, she was the freaking hero. And I love that. Well, I mean, we've seen her do more heroic things, but I just love that it wasn't John swooping in and saving the day here.
Yeah, like so each of them gets to say, we get 3 different day savings. I mean, we get Aeryn, in the, desperation of the trying to help Moya and keep Zahn alive and having to make that dreadful risk. There's a thing Terry Pratchett describes in one of his books, talks about the dreadful algebra of survival. It's when you have to make those terrible choices. And when she has to risk Zahn's life to save Pilot, she makes that, and Moya, like she makes that dreadful choice. Luckily, Zahn happens to be in the one room that they don't vent, so but like
you're very lucky.
But we see Aeryn to an extent risking Moya and Pilot and herself by taking the time to look for Zahn and then recognizing that, this is the moment where we have to stop. And
right, yeah, because if Moya goes down, everybody's dead. Like there's just no, yeah.
She's doing the triage. She's doing the algebra of survival, and she has to knock. She has no choice but to knock Zom the fuck out.
Yeah,
she does. She has been trying. Like she could have done that to begin with, and I think early Aeryn would have been just like, "Let me shoot this bitch."
Yeah, just like be done with it, shoot her and be done.
But she tries everything, and she tries sciencing everything until she has no choice.
Worse. She tries to science it, and it makes it worse. I love that too.
Yeah.
I love that. There's
also
this
the lights were a good idea.
Me too. I'm like, how did that not work? How did that not work? Like, come on. But yeah, there's this moment where Zahn calls Aeryn a brutish peacekeeper, and my ears malfunctioned or something, because I thought she called her a British peacekeeper, and I was very confused. I wondered if they were doing some weird like meta thing, and I had to go back and listen to it again.
Has the subtext of colonialism become text?
Right? Yeah, that was a fun little moment for me. I actually giggled when I realized the mistake I had made. It was really good. Yeah, it was really good to see Aeryn. She was so adorable. And she was like, I'm just trying shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I do love that even though it would have sucked if Zahn had died, she was willing to make the tough call, because sometimes you just have to. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And then third, we have sort of John and it doing his Captain Kirky stuff, and the little threads of whatever Rigel is playing Maverick.
Whatever Rigel is doing.
Rigel, that little shit. I don't have a ton to say about John, but I'm getting really annoyed with Rigel, like really, really annoyed. He was literally going to let John die. Like literally was going to just fuck it, bye, I'm out. Like, bye, Felicia, like just take off. Like, and it's played for laughs, and yes, it is funny and it's in character, but like he's screwed them so many times now that I just think, why don't they just kick him out into the airlock? Like he's shown so many times that he's a liability, but they just keep him around. I don't know. I'm nitpicking here because at the end of the day, it's a TV show and he's a character and whatever, like it's all good. But I just feel like if I were in that situation, I should be like, we should just leave him on the planet here because he's just going to screw us big time.
Well, the thing is that he is a liability like 80% of the time. And then every so often, like his gambling has paid off before.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And his negotiations pay off. It's just in this situation, we are down to the bone on this carcass and nothing is working. That's the whole thing, is pretty much nothing is working. I wish they'd hit that note a little harder. That sort of
showed some more starvation and
or just like so much, the stuff they're trying is just not working. Putting them in desperate situations.
I agree with that, and it's an interesting, I don't know what you call it, but every once in a while, I think I can see writers having like a conversation with themselves through their work. And in this episode, that all of the things that we know work in the Farscape universe, the writers just decided this time they don't work. Like, Basag wasn't interested in trading. He was willing to accept exactly one form of currency. And that's it. Whereas previously somebody would have been like, ooh, you've got a Leviathan. I'll bet you we can get some fluid from the sacks of the whatever. And, whatever. Cool. Rigel, nothing that he was trying was working, up to and including playing a game where cheating is one of the win mechanics.
I really liked that. That was great.
And I mean, he called himself out. He was like, I'm not thinking straight. Like, I'm starving. I'm not at my best right now. John wasn't able to talk the Kidva down. Like, this episode, that was an interesting thing for me that I enjoyed. This episode was full of the writers saying, like, all of the things they've learned, photogasm, all the things they've learned throughout the series just don't matter in this episode. Just don't work in this episode. Yep. And that's always interesting because it really backs the characters into a corner. And it really requires the characters to make hard choices and to be innovative.
They just didn't go far enough.
Yeah, I agree. That could have been a lot more textual, and that could have been a lot more like metaphorical. And instead it just seemed like the writers were just kind of bored.
Well, it's this guy's first Farscape script, even if he is story editor. As always, it is laying track while the train is running. So, it happens. But, we're critics are going to critic. And this is one that needed a bit more time in the oven to just take things, just turn up the pressure more. Just give us a bit more of this, whatever you're used to doing to survive is not working. This is where, the rubber meets the road, or whatever, what metaphor you want to use. This is the thing where nothing is working, and our girl ends up having to kill someone. Of course, the thing is she's already done that.
Yeah.
She's a little less direct than when she did that on the Gamma base. You remember Mr. Human Torch. Yeah. But I mean, it's a middle of the road episode with some great moments.
I don't know what to make of the accent choice.
Oh God.
Yeah. It was like, to me, it was, they were doing Australian accents with a Southern drawl, and it was very odd to me. Like, I couldn't. It felt weird.
Yeah. To me, it was very Louisiana Bayou, and which in my mind drifts over into, like, are we talking about plantation owners?
Oh, okay.
What kind of a commentary are we making here?
That's interesting. I didn't think of that.
I think there was trying for a Wild West something, because we have the allusion to Maverick, and we have the we have the gambling guy, and there's a mining.
John leaned into it too. He would affect a Southern accent a couple of times.
Yeah.
But it was just so specific and terrible that it was hard to keep track of.
Well, I mean, John as Ben Browder is Southern, so I think it's code switching in his case. But these other guys, what accent is the guy with the hat?
That's his one in particular. It was so Aussie, but so Southern. It was so strange to me. Yeah, he really dove into that. He turned it up to 11. And is it just me? But I felt like Basog's accent kept changing too. Like he would do the Southern drawl, and then he'd just sound pure Aussie. It was very strange to me.
And they're aliens, but also, like, it shouldn't at moments remind. If you're gonna go full alien, don't remind us of particular Earth places.
They're alien, but everything's basically like Earth coded. So,
if you're gonna make up an entire accent, then make up an entire accent.
Yeah, it was just
don't I don't know, like. I don't know. I guess I swear I heard Quebecois sounds in there too.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
It's like
we all just heard what we wanted to hear.
Well, because that's related to the Acadians, who are related to the Cajuns. So
okay.
The diaspora, yes.
I guess I appreciate the effort. I guess that they tried something like
at least Altera just went straight for. I'm gonna stick with Australian, and
that's the thing. Like even I'm getting a little sick of every single species having an Australian accent. It's just getting like too much now. Like everybody in Farscape is Aussie. Like what?
I'm sure we get some New Zealanders.
Yeah. Plus everybody in all the other series is just American.
The New Zealand accent is basically Australian, but you have a golf ball in your mouth. That's basically the New Zealand accent. And yeah.
Well, yeah. His facade and like anyways. Just the
it's very strange.
The production design in this episode was top notch.
Yeah.
The Kidva was fantastic.
I don't know. The Kidva, there's something about the Kidva that doesn't work for me. I think it is too obvious to me that that's a guy in a suit. And that's then they cook him.
And that's why it was dimly lit too. You never really got a very clear shot of it. Whenever the suit,
like it was
whenever but like
made it work until the end.
Yeah, whenever the suit or the monster is hidden in shadow, you know it's because it looks like crap. That is just a guarantee.
It's a good rule of thumb.
It was working for most of the episode, but when him and John are having their John McClane penis, then you see too much of the suit, in my opinion, and it is like, that's a guy in a suit, and then let's barbecue him. And that just goes a little weird.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked that. I loved the design of the Budong.
Yeah, that was very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah.
I mean, that is the Moya set redressed with lights and fabric, basically.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I meant from like the CG from exterior.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah, the establishing shot. That was like, holy shit.
It was basically a corpse, a half rotten corpse.
It was a corpse.
Yeah, a big giant dino corpse.
That beautiful, where'd I go? That beautiful zoom in.
That was cool. That was cool, but it kind of looks like shit, but I still love it because I love it when Farscape tries something really ambitious. It's like, oh, sweetie, you tried. Like good for you. That's how I feel. And yeah, I love that too. I genuinely loved it, even though it didn't look great. I thought that it was just a cool transition, and I'm glad that they tried it, you know?
And I like the way that they do the internals, like even though it is Moya set redress, like the red and the light and it really works for a claustrophobic mind sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense that it would be Moya redressed because here we are inside of yet another beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of Moya redressed throughout the series, and most often they do it well. And I think this is one of the ones that really does it well because you can do a lot with lights and fabric and a bit and polish. Especially, I'm always willing to I'll just go with it. Spent enough time in the theater. You throw some sheets up, I'll go with it.
Yeah. It's just interesting. That's all, and it worked really well.
Yeah. And just another point on the starvation and what they did to with that. There was the scene right at the start. John's cooking these little grubs. He calls them dentics.
Yeah, they're the tooth cleaners.
They are witchetty grubs, which is an Aussie term for the larvae of several moths. And they're actually very, very significant to Aboriginal folks, and particularly in pre-colonial days, it was a very important part of their diet. But it's still very significant to some Aboriginal communities, especially out in the desert and stuff. But you can actually go out and do like bush tucker tours where some Aboriginal elders will take you around and show you different ways to like survive off the land and stuff. And you can actually eat them. And I'm pretty sure that shot of them cooking was real. I'm pretty sure that was real because you can eat them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought that was a nice little piece of Australiana that I appreciated.
Yeah, it was also a callback because remember, this is the thing that Dargo showed him how to clean his teeth with.
Oh,
and says don't swallow them.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
So they are desperate enough to be frying their toothbrush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. I'd love to learn more about Bush Tucker. I don't want to.
It's very, very fascinating. Like, if you know what you are doing, you can survive out there, even in like the really harsh desert places. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you have to, you can. It's a whole thing. It's a whole like field. You can like study it, and it's very interesting stuff.
So Rigel and John actually almost eat each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and I appreciated the headbutt, because that's what I wanted to do. John sort of headbutts him, like, yes, good.
Yeah, no, I mean, Rigel has his uses. I remember how much you used to love him.
I still do, but in like a you're a little shithead kind of way. I love him as if he's like my annoying little cousin, but he's still hilarious. I still have a lot of love for him. It's just, I just feel like if I was there on that ship, I'd want to just kick him out, just like go, because you're gonna get us all killed.
Except for the one time out of however many that you
exactly
you do have your skills come in useful, yeah.
But maybe he's gonna have this big heroic moment where he saves the day and becomes a good person, and we'll see. Poker face, Sarah. Poker face.
He is Rigel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That'd be too far, too divorced from the character.
I don't want to spoil anything, but he is also Rigel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that he stays in character. That's good. Like, it's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and John, of course, doing his Captain Kirk / John McClane stuff, where he actually says, "Enough of this Captain Kirk bullshit."
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That cracked me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have a ton to say about John. He was doing his John thing, being old John and Johning this shit out of it, and good for him.
Yeah. He does manage to bring home the V-dung thingy. What was it called?
The meat.
The meat.
Meat.
John gets Zahn her meat.
John does give Zahn meat.
I'm glad you didn't say his meat, but I guess it technically was his because he was in possession of it. But the meat actually looked tasty. Wait, the meat that was seen on screen that was being eaten looked tasty.
I'll take your word for that. I don't actually eat meat apart from seafood.
Really? Oh, you're a pescatarian.
Yeah, I have been since I was 11.
Yeah, I've exhausted my notes here. I got nothing left.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, there wasn't too much to this episode.
Yeah,
it was an adventure yarn with some odd choices and some great production design. And
like I said, didn't love it, didn't hate it. But it was nothing special.
It was fun. It was good. It was
great. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, all I had was, the discussion of sort of survival sex work and the the algebra of survival. When you're desperate,
which is actually really I appreciate you sharing that, because that really expanded my understanding, and like that actually blew my mind a little bit. So thank you.
Well, we have so many stories about this idea of like the courtesan who chooses the guy with the money over and the poor little romantic guy is all heartbroken, but most of those times, like, that was survival. Poor little the romantic hero guy. Like, I love La Traviata, but I want to smack Federico because he's all, why are you leaving me for the Baron with the money and even though I love you and you love me, like,
because food.
And actually, in that case, it's also because your father begged me, so your sister that isn't tainted by association with me, because your family has money, so your sister has options. I don't.
I just always remember. I always remember that dire economic need is a form of coercion.
Yeah, because people will do things they wouldn't normally do when they're desperate, or things that they don't want to do. You know. There's many people. Actually, there's many people in jobs they don't particularly like just because they need to, survive.
Yeah, we demonize this one form of work, this one form of selling your body. But like going down a mine is also selling your body.
Yeah, it's dangerous too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is dangerous as fuck. And one of those has health and safety regulations.
Right.
And one of those does not.
Absolutely. And it should, because sex work is real work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's complicated discussion about whether to decriminalize or whether to legalize and regulate. And the thing is that I actually think that all dangerous work needs some regulation.
No, absolutely.
But regulation should always be designed by the people who do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you don't have with sex work, because you almost invariably have people who are trying to save women from sex work, from being exploited for sex. But the people don't consider ever, should we save the women or empower them to save themselves, heaven forbid, for the causes of what sends them to sex work. Which is the same causes often that send people to go down the mines and just obliterate their bodies that way. The desperation to avoid poverty. And, we are fully capable of putting people who have experience in the position to do the regulating. We are fully capable of, doing universal basic income, so people don't actually need to exist in a survival state. But we don't, because capitalism.
Right.
Because
capitalism is Basag. who is holding the whistle of the beast that is going to kill everybody?
Right.
And using it as a reason to close the mine, which is the only way that people can get the crystals, which is the only way people can get meat. Yeah, it's actually a really good analogy that's in this episode, but they don't
lean into it.
They don't lean into it because the pieces are there for the, to look at that. But, and maybe they wanted to, but they have to get things by. There's always the network.
Yeah, and the sensors and all that
sensors
crap.
And everything, and just the year 2000. Or were we in 2001 at this point?
I think 2001 at this point, yeah.
Yeah. But I still think that the crumbs are there to see that, because, who does hold the whistles to the trained beasts that snap at the ordinary workers' heels?
Yeah. I've always found it very strange that sex work is legal, or shall we say particular forms of sex work, because it's quite in a broad umbrella. But in my neck of the woods, I believe it's being legalized like by the end of the year or something like that, which is great. But I've always found it odd that like people, if somebody wants to have sex in exchange for money, why is that such a bad thing? Like, why should that be illegal? I don't get it. Some people could make the argument then that it's not regulated, but as you said, Sarah, then just fucking regulate it. Like, why make it illegal? It doesn't make sense to me why that's illegal.
But you
I don't get it.
Have to let the people who do it
do
the regulating, because there is also it is this thing that brings out people's like savior instincts. People turn into Dargo.
Yeah.
Because it is, I believe in Canada, it is now legal. But there's
it
all
is not
these
legal in Texas.
but there's all these insane rules around it, because I think it's still illegal to actually buy sex.
Okay.
And it's illegal to profit from sex.
There are degrees, there are gradations. We have strip clubs in Texas.
Yeah.
We have You have porn shops in Texas, but prostitution itself is not legal in Texas.
Right.
As I understand it now, in Canada and in many places there is, and it's also a European model. I think it's. I'm not an expert on this stuff by far, right? You guys should look deeper into it. And there's an excellent essay someone did around the film. There was a film recently. I'll put it in the show notes. A video essay that went into the ethics and all around sex work. Because there is the legalization model is to have the sex work be legal, but is illegal for someone else to profit by it, which means that they can't have like a driver.
No pimps.
Yeah, well, they're trying to avoid pimps, but what they end up doing is that you can't have a security guy.
But they need protection, because some of their clients are fucking crazy. Like,
then they can't have like ways to advertise on like forums and stuff. But those forums were also ways that they often use to organize, like trying to protect each other. So all the things that people who have no experience, who think they know what's best, the Dargos, do to try and protect the people who are actually doing the work, often ends up, the well-meaning people end up putting the girls in more danger. Because the things that that they want to do, the workers to make things safer, are too close to comfort for the more, for the Dargos of the world who don't see the difference between that and pimping.
Right.
And it's like, this is why, like, I think the people, unions make us strong. This is why people who go down the mines should be the people who should be part, a big part of the people who make the safety regulations for the mines.
Right.
This is also true for the people who have to sell sex. They need to be the ones who they understand. So you can't come from the outside. I shouldn't be saying what is, the best way to keep a survival sex worker, some, impoverished, probably not white woman with kids in downtown Vancouver who may or may not have substance abuse issues. I know that I don't know enough to say what's right for her,
right,
to keep her safe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, especially people who call themselves feminists, unfortunately, who have even less information than me and think that they know what should be done to keep that girl safe.
Well, yeah. There's also these antiquated ideas that like sex workers are like and like escorts and stuff are desperate women who are in need of saving. They're in bad situations, and look, some are doing it out of desperation, as we've spoken about, but there are some, particularly today, that do it as a career because they want to. Like, some of them are well-adjusted, perfectly fine women that just, for whatever reason, that's what they want to do for a living, and that's okay.
I mean, I'll be honest, I find the idea of someone paying for sex icky. But there's a lot of things that people do for money that I find icky.
Exactly, that's the thing. It's yeah.
And then also I was judging the guys who do it, not the people who are trying to make a living. And again,
I don't think there's any problem. I don't see a problem in the side of it. Like, for some men, it's just they don't have time for a relationship, and there's a whole host of things. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
I don't know. Maybe it's an old bias of mine, but there's something about it, about that power relationship.
Okay.
Makes me uncomfortable. But I think if it were safer and the power relationship wasn't, if the power relationship was safer, maybe it wouldn't bother me. But I just, and then and again, my whatever icky feelings aren't are nobody's business but mine.
Well, yeah, and as you said, it's a personal bias, and you're not even sure, like you're not sure whether it's a legitimate thing or something you need to address or whatever. And
it is just about the power imbalance. I feel like I feel uncomfortable about.
See, I personally feel like it's the sex worker then is in power myself, because I mean, she's selling a service. Yeah,
I think that's the thing. I would feel. I feel like too often. I feel like the situation as it is now, she isn't, because of a lot of because of the stuff we talked about that's putting her in that position.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think maybe I think I kind of feel similar about the guy doing that I feel about the billionaire exploiting lax work and safety stuff to get more, sort of taking advantage of the desperation of his work.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand the angle you were approaching it from, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
There's also like a personal kind of squick at the thought of the paying for sex bit, but which is the a bit of old programming.
Yeah, definitely. Though if there was full legalization and regulation done by the workers themselves, it would balance that out significantly.
Yeah, if workers actually were in control, if we had UBI, ultimately it isn't my business, and I know that it isn't my business.
Same. Yeah.
And we're only talking about it. We're talking about it now because this episode brings it up, and my overriding opinion, regardless of feelings and everything else like that, is that it's also like it's not society's business, and we're making it our business in a way that makes the women and boys, and men doing it unsafe. And that to me is the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are making our moral feelings into laws that are putting these people in unsafe conditions.
You're singing the song of the United States government right now.
Too real, Josh. Too real. And I say that from a million miles away.
At least my government doesn't regulate relatively harmless other recreational substance activities. And still,
go on, y'all just enjoy not living in America right now. That's fine.
Canada is still pretty shit about a lot of things, but
no, we win.
I mean, overall, it's not even a competition.
Yeah, I don't want to be the winner in this instance.
No. Josh, if you ever need an asylum, buddy, you say the word. You say the word, and I'll get you out.
Your continent is my next stop.
I like my little island.
Yeah, sex work is work, and the people who choose to engage in it should have both the freedoms and the protections to do so. And
absolutely.
That's my thought.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it.
Less words to say that.
Yeah, that is seriously. At the end of the day, that's the long and short of it. That's all that matters. Yeah, that's it. That's the summary. Yeah.
The question is, how do we make that a reality? Because of course, labor is complicated.
Labor is complicated, and dire economic need is a form of coercion, and so it's
and especially the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Is this where I make the letters UBI just sort of float across the screen?
And actually, I didn't think about COVID sort of decimated the sex work industry because no one could have contact with each other. So yeah.
Well, it pivoted the sex work industry just like everything else. OnlyFans took off.
Yeah,
that's true. It did. Whoa, it did. Yeah.
Which at least is largely a safer option.
It is, yeah, because you're in the safety of your own home, and yeah.
But dire economic need is a form of coercion, and so sex work engaged in for a survival thing, or as an indentured servitude, or as payment or recompense in any way, shape, or form, ought to be prohibited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not the sex worker who should be paying the price. It is people who are exploiting someone else's desperation. It is the Basog.
Like Basog. Like
God damn it, Basog. God damn it.
We finally bring it. We're back to the episode.
Fuck you and your melted hand. Oh, it hurts.
It did.
Like the fact that she kills the guy, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, I was like, cool.
I kind of like she let the mine eat the capitalist.
See, I don't think she actually killed him. She maimed him badly, and I like that. I like that she didn't actually kill him.
Oh no, it's clear. She makes it clear in the beginning that acid eats you till you die.
Yeah, it's just going to keep all the way.
Whoosh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
The mine
it was
literally ate
quick.
the rich.
Yeah.
I like that. Sorry, I missed that point.
No, it was easy to miss. They breezed past that line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, she could have shot him point blank. She sprayed him with acid that will slowly
she wanted him to suffer. Good for her. Good for her.
Which is very similar to the other death she's inflicted so far, where she set the dude on fucking fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chiana doesn't just want to kill you. Chiana wants you to make sure that you know you're dying.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Fuck with that girl.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh, it's good she didn't actually kill him, but it's not bad that she actually did. That's fine.
Yeah,
he was a shithead who deserved it. Like, yeah. I mean, if you're going to keep sex slaves, you kind of just deserve whatever you get, really.
Yeah. Plus, he was stealing other people's claims.
Murder.
Yeah.
Killed his brother to take. Yeah.
Yeah, why the fuck did he kill his brother? Did they ever talk about that?
Yeah, I think to take control or something. I think this is the stuff that needed a bit more work. There's more time in the oven.
Like you said, half-baked, yeah.
The pieces are there.
You know what keeps happening is the writers of Farscape keep forgetting they only have 42 minutes to tell a story.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time it's rushed. Yeah, I really do.
They have these very big ideas, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's TV."
Yeah, yeah, like they're writing a movie, but then they're like, "Oh fuck, hang on."
And sometimes it works beautifully. Sometimes it goes a complete mess, but usually an interesting one.
Yeah,
and sometimes it goes halfway. Oh no! Like sometimes Jeremiah, that's the interesting mess. It's Jeremiah. This is the kind of halfway there.
Yeah, this was fine. This was fine. This was fine.
Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it. I swear.
And then spanked him in the ass. It was fine.
Roxanne. Okay.
I don't know what's going on now.
Never fall in love with a woman who sells herself. It always ends badly.
Okay, so I think we are done with debating sex work and talking about episode.
That was a whole.
That was a whole tangent.
Like we've had tangents before, but that was a fucking tangent, man.
For a while there, we weren't even talking about Farscape anymore.
I might cut that down a bit to make it make more sense. But we're trying to fill in the time. Anyway, like I said, I am going to put links to that excellent video essay. I think it's by Verily Bitchy in the description, so you can learn about this stuff from someone who knows more than me. Because I know bits and pieces. I know enough to know I don't know enough. So what is everyone's favorite parts?
It's very easy for me. The conversation at the end with Chiana and Dargo, how she basically says that she's Yeah, no, she's like being on guard to feel safe and all that stuff. And Dargo's basically like, you are safe and you don't have to be on guard here. And then the kiss, and it was great. Loved it. It was good.
I think for me, it was the climactic confrontation between Aeryn and Zahn in command. After Zahn got locked in with Aeryn, and she was creeping up on her with the buds and the eyes and everything like that. And she goes, "You're a Pah'oo. You can beat this." And Zahn's like, "You're right, I can." She goes, "Pop!"
Yeah, that was great.
I love both of those bits, and I don't know what my favorite part is.
Yeah, it was kind of tough. This one.
Yeah, it was kind of tough.
Yeah, I think I just like everything about Chiana and Dargo.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting waltz this episode because they're both kind of wrong, kind of right.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it. Even after all the smack I've talked, I'm curious to see where it's going to go.
Because I think they are kind of right for each other and kind of wrong for each other, and it's interesting.
It's nice.
It's an interesting dance.
It's cute.
It is.
The waltz of Chiago. So the next episode is called Dream a Little Dream.
Ooh.
And do we have any predictions for that?
Is that Dream a Little Dream of Me? Guest starring Barbara Eden as Jeannie from I Dream Jeannie. There we go. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, we already had Maldus this season, so I guess I have to actually predict something now. I'm thinking alternate reality.
Oh,
okay.
That could be fun. Actually, you know what? I think you're probably right. There's something like that. Something like, or people getting pulled into dreams. Or yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Freddy Krueger. Oh my God, it's Freddy. Freddy's going to make an appearance.
Ooh, I wish.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
And then the episode after that, which is probably going to be after Christmas for us. I think we're nearing our Christmas break because Jack will be going away. Is called Out of Their Minds.
Oh, good. Ooh.
Do we have any predictions for Out of Their Minds?
I'd say people are going to go out of their own minds. That's a craziness.
Well, that already happened with Crackers.
Hijinks. Yeah, it's going to be Crackers Part 2 is what I'm guessing, basically.
I'm gonna stand with Jack on this one.
Okay. And Ren is going to be joining us for that one.
Oh yeah.
And we will be doing a reaction.
Is that Ren the Barbarian, the YouTuber?
That is Ren the Barbarian, the YouTuber. Oh, nice. So that'll probably be our first record after Christmas.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And we may or may not try and sneak in a Christmas episode. Probably with Ren rather than Jack, because Jack will be flying off to Sydney.
Yeah, and I can't really film while I'm away. So
yeah. But yes, we did Muppet Christmas Carol. Maybe we should do the Muppets Home for Christmas.
Die Hard. Sorry. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
It is.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I was thinking of another Muppet Christmas thing, but too bad they didn't do Die Hard.
Muppet Die Hard. Oh my God.
We haven't done Muppet Die Hard.
That would be incredible. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Okay.
Sorry,
what would be your Muppet cast? Do a Muppet cast, only one human for Die Hard.
I would keep Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber and the rest of Muppets. No?
No, he needs to be a Muppet.
Okay.
I think I would keep Bruce Willis as John McClane.
Or Al. I'd keep Al, the police officer outside.
The thing is, you could do a really neat Muppet cast with any of them as the one human.
Yeah. I want that to happen. It's never going to.
Who would you cast? What's the Muppet you would cast as Hans Gruber?
Oh,
what's his name? Gonzo.
Actually, yeah, that's kind of
yeah, it's good, isn't it?
I can kind of imagine the Sam the Eagle, or there are in fact two Hans Grubers, Statler and Waldorf.
Oh, okay. And I'd say just Kermit as John McClane, because that's just great to me.
So Miss Piggy is the wife?
Oh, yes, there it is.
Done. Yes, that's it.
I was actually going to say Kermit as Al, as Sergeant Al Powell.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hey, I accidentally shot a kid, and
maybe
I haven't been able to pick up my pistol since.
Maybe like Grover or something as John. That could be fun. Grover, or Animal, even
Grover.
Bring Animal away from the drums.
Now to see like Sam the Eagle as John McClane. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
This is making me more and more sad that it's never going to happen.
I think it's more fun in imagining it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our question for the audience.
Yes.
Give us your fan cast of Die Hard or another Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see some Muppet fan casts for It's a Wonderful Life.
And the sillier, the better, I
Merry
think.
Christmas, your old savings and loan.
Oh no, Kermit has got to be Clarence.
Oh my God, Home Alone, but you keep Macaulay Culkin.
And not Macaulay Culkin as a kid, Macaulay Culkin as he is now playing now.
Macaulay Culkin now, yeah.
playing his the role of an 8-year-old.
This is my house. I have to defend it. Oh God.
Yeah, so that's
derailed again.
The Christmas challenge for our listeners. Yeah. Give us any Christmas movie or Hanukkah movie with a fan recast the Muppets.
Mm-hmm. Are there Hanukkah movies?
I think there's some Adam Sandler ones.
All right. Oh yeah, 8 Days, 8 Crazy Nights.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Adam Sandler Hanukkah cartoon movie.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's more movies than there are that I know of that are Eid movies. Mm. So, yes, that. I think we are out of words.
Yeah. Let's wrap this up.
Okay, so where can people find you?
Who are you referring to, me or Josh?
What order do we usually go in?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so right. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm off my game. All right, I'm a little unwell. No. It's so good. I love you both. I'm sorry.
He's not.
You can find me on Twitter at @ThatComeSurprise1. That's all one word with the number 1 at the end. You can also find me on Instagram at Jack Kramme, all one word, lowercase. And over on our Discord server, I'm Jack Spraddington over there. Josh, where can people find your wonderful self?
Mostly I just hang out on Instagram at Josh Gosdin when I'm not nestled serenely at Jack's feet as he reads me bedtime stories at night.
One day, buddy, one day.
If you want to make that happen, folks, you could sign up for our Patreon.
We'll make a video out of it.
Plug. That was a fucking
great plug.
We haven't increased any patrons in like ages, so we need to come up with some incentives.
That's the reward.
Fly me to Australia so Jack can read me bedtime stories.
Can't you set goals now in Patreon? You can set goals. So
yes, you can.
There it is.
I should look up the cost of a flight. And make that a tier.
It's about 1,500 to $2,000 somewhere around there. So yeah, I've looked it up because one day, buddy, one day.
But Sara, where can people find you, please?
Yeah, Sara, where can people find you?
Well, I'm not curled up at Jack's feet.
You could be, though. You could be. Always open, Sara. Always open.
You can find me on YouTube at the Costume Codex, although I am contemplating a rebrand of the channel, so it might be. I'm kind of thinking about maybe calling it the Fat Culture Critic.
Oh, okay.
Or just under my name. I don't know exactly yet. I just have gotten away from doing costume stuff, and I haven't gained a lot of subscribers or patrons recently. So I think maybe I need to say a little more of what's actually on the tin in my video.
Always got to keep it fresh. Always got to be evolving because, things stagnate no matter what you are doing, really. So you need to,
And my
ADHD
things. Brain takes me to making what I'm interested in rather than what I said I was going to do when I started the channel. Which
you can still do costumes on the side.
Yeah, and sometimes I do, but like I've done a whole degree since then on like film and representation and gender stuff. So this is me finding a way to say I got my degree.
Congratulations, by the way. Well done. you finally did it.
I have milked that a lot.
Great job.
But yeah, I did the cap and gowny stuff. Nice. Okay, and while the Muscopolis continues, I am still on Twitter at BlueStalkInSara.
For now, yep.
But I have also added a Instagram that I cannot remember the name of, but will be linked in the description.
We're great at this.
Oh yeah,
professionals.
So good. And I've gone back to Tumblr, which is Sara the Fat Culture Critic. Yes, isn't everybody doing so well with the Muscopolis of Twitter? Muscopolis.
Muscopolis.
Sorry, you're doing okay tonight. You're doing all right tonight.
I'm a little punch drunk.
You're doing okay tonight.
I'm a little punch drunk.
Okay, why don't we just ease ourselves right on to the end of this podcast here?
That is probably a good idea. Yes, we are at the end. So yeah, you can find us on all the things, and you can hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have Dream a Little Dream, and then we'll be gone for Christmas for a bit.
So thanks everybody.
Bye y'all.
Nothing but love and those sexy, sexy tentacles. Meanwhile, John is. Stop laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing at sexy, sexy tentacles. Yeah, you can't just bust that out. Okay?
Whoever wrote that.
I didn't write that. I didn't write that. That was off my head just now.
Oh, okay. Well,
that was improv.
Well done. That was okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, John is.
Well done.
Now I've got the tango from Mulan stuck in my head, or Moulin Rouge. Yeah, not Mulan.
Do not fall in love with a woman who sells herself. It always ends badly. You don't have to put on that red light.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah, it's unusual for us to be singing and you not.
Yeah, right? What's going on? I don't remember. I only remember wasn't Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend? Was that from? I remember that song. That's it.
You don't remember Marmalade Lady?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh God, yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't forget that.
Nope.
I mean, who could?
Right? Sorry. I'm good.
Never be sorry.